welcome to another video, and this is a video on my full review of the Oppo Find X5 Pro. So I've been testing this handset out for the last couple of days, and this was originally purchased to replace my Huawei Mate 40 Pro, which I've tried to replace on many occasions from the likes of the Realme GT Master Edition and the OnePlus 10 Pro. However, I found these devices to be quite underwhelming in several areas, and that's mentioned in my full review of these devices posted on the channel. And I really thought this phone was going to be the one to replace it. All the hype about the Hasselblad collaboration and the separate chipset that the phone has for its camera, along with its fantastic stereo speakers and the amazing display. That's what the hype's about, and that's what you get told every single day. However, I disagree with a lot of these features, so we're going to go through the good and the bad in my full review. So let's talk design. So the screen on this device is absolutely fantastic. So it's a Quad HD, 120Hz, over 1000 nits of full brightness, slightly curved at the edges. Personally, I'd actually prefer a slightly more curved display, but that is personal preference. That's no fault to Oppo. The quality of the screen is fantastic. The brightness is good. It's really crisp. It's really clear. However, given the smartphone industry and devices you could purchase, 2 years ago, I don't think this screen, and on any particular flagship, is actually worth purchasing the latest model for. I mean, to give you an idea of what I'm getting at, basically, is I used to have an Oppo Find X2 Pro, and that phone was fantastic. And that phone had 120Hz refresh rate, Quad HD, just I think about 1000 nits of brightness. That was a fantastic display. And to be honest with you, between that and this, I can't really tell the difference. And if anything, it had a slightly more curved display, so I actually preferred the display on that phone. So, although this display is fantastic, it doesn't break any boundaries or any new records. So coming to the back of the phone, I love the material they've used. They've used ceramic material, so it's ceramic glass, so it's slightly more scratch resistant and slightly more durable, and it feels super nice and super premium in your hand. And the whole phone does, to be honest. The aluminium frame, the way it's really smooth all the way around, the slightly green accent on the power button, and this really nice sort of curved into the camera layout. However, I personally don't like the look of it. I think it looks really, really ugly. It's not symmetrical. There's no sort of design work it follows. It's just a big blob stuck on the back, and I really don't like the way this looks. But again, that's personal preference to this device. I don't like the fact you've got branding all the way along. It doesn't come out on camera, but you've actually got writing. Really doesn't come out on camera, but you've got writing all the way down the device, and you've got the big Oppo and Hasselblad branding, which I don't mind. That it's a signal to the partnership that the two companies have, and that's absolutely fine. So let's talk about the camera, and let's talk about why you're probably here. If you're looking at this phone, you're probably here to look at the cameras. Now, the cameras for me are a mixed bag. On paper, they seem really good, and do they live up to the hype? Well, no, unfortunately not in my full testing. I found the testing to be very true to life in colours, and the details to be very good. However, the processing is not quite there in terms of the final result. As you can see here, the final result from my test photos are still very, very dark in the shadows with an overexposed sky. So this is no edit, this is straight out the camera, straight on the phone and the device's screen. So as you can see, I will attach a picture in the video so you can see it more clearly. But as you can see here, this is really not an impressive image in low light. And given that the Mario Silicon processor this has for specifically processing the images, I do find it slightly disappointing, especially when you compare this to my Huawei Mate 40 Pro, which again, I'll put an image up so you can see the difference. So you do get a zoom camera, however it's only got a 2x zoom, and I do find that slightly underwhelming compared to flagships these days. It actually does a really respectable job for the type of camera it is, however you do need to understand its limitations in terms of photography. The ultra wide, I actually have a lot more better things to say about it. I think the quality of the ultra wide is fantastic. It does suffer from the same low light issues as the main camera, and I think because they've used the same sensors on the Find X3 Pro, them sensors are getting on a bit now, and I think you can tell that when you start pushing beyond the limits of the automatic mode and you go into more the pro mode and shooting in that respect of things. So the hardware of the actual camera sensors is dating, however they are trying to keep up with their Mario Silicon So overall, I think it is a fantastic camera in the daytime and for certain situations. However, in low light, I do find it slightly disappointing. So if we're going to talk about the interface, this is running Android 12 and it's running ColorOS 12. I actually really like ColorOS. It's really smooth. You've got the Google Discover feed, you've got an apps tray, you've got everything where you need it. It does come with quite a lot of bloatware installed, as you can see here. So that is a bit of a shame. However, it's really slick and it's really polished. I must say it's not quite as smooth as Huawei's EMUI, which I think actually, considering the position Huawei and they're doing a fantastic job with EMUI in so many ways, it doesn't feel as slick as that. I mean, my Mate 40 Pro's only got a 90Hz refresh rate, and this does have a few more stutters and a few more loose ends in the software than EMUI with a 90Hz refresh rate. So I actually did notice the experience on this device wasn't as smooth as my 2.5-year-old Huawei, and that is a little bit of a disappointment. But again, it's just something you notice when you've been using a flagship device you really like for so long. So it's not a bugbear. Maybe it's just a software update, but yeah, it works fine. I really do like it. There's just a few little bugs that need tying up with the software. Charging speed, however, is fantastic. You've got 80-watt wired charging along with 50-watt wireless charging. This works really well and really effectively, and it charges the phone from 0 to full in around 40 minutes, which there is faster charging about. However, I think this is a sweet spot between preserving your battery and charging the phone quickly. Another thing on this device as well is I do find the fingerprint scanner to be quite slow and unresponsive compared to the competition, and given the price point of this phone, I'd expect it to be much quicker than it actually is.